Aquarius yacht and her beauty. What if I told you there's a 302-foot Northern European superyacht that hides a surprise most viewers miss on first watch? One design choice that quietly explains why her price tag can edge past rivals with flashier headlines. Stay with me until the end, because I'll reveal the specific feature that makes Aquarius feel more like a private, floating resort than a conventional big boat, and why it nudges her into a different league of ownership and charter demand. Aquarius is a 92-meter, steel-hulled, aluminum superstructure feedship delivered in 2016 and styled in collaboration with Synot and Devogt. On paper, she reads like a modern Northern European flagship. In person, she carries herself with the ease of a boutique resort. Long, uncluttered exterior lines, generous headroom, graded deck elevations that keep views uninterrupted, and a purposeful, low-vibration mechanical posture that you notice the moment you step on the teak. My first impression is always the same. The yacht feels calm before you even hear the engines turn over. That calm, born of hull form, powertrain choice, and layout logic, sets the tone for everything else on board. Aquarius's mission profile is global range family cruising, with an emphasis on quiet luxury, social decks that flow naturally, an owner's domain with real privacy, and guest areas that don't fight for the same square footage. If you're the kind of viewer who wants spectacle for the thumbnail, but sanctuary in real life, this boat is the sweet spot. She's not trying to be the loudest yacht in the bay. She's engineered to be the most livable one. Key features. The headline features here aren't gimmicks. They're the pieces that make week-long itineraries feel effortless. There's a beach club complex that opens at water level, a pool aligned so you can sightline straight through to horizon blues, and a super practical helipad so the party or the family can arrive and leave on their own clock. Elevators connect the decks for no-drama movement from sea to sun to salon. The interior vocabulary is serene and timeless. Think pale stones, warm wood tones, and exacting joinery. What I appreciate most is the way the interior designers resisted over-detailing. The luxury lands in the feel, underfoot acoustics, temperature stability, and light management that stays flattering all day. Guest logistics are dialed in. 7 guest suites for up to 12 to 14 people, staffed by a crew in the low 30s, which is precisely the ratio that keeps service anticipatory instead of reactive. The owner's suite is treated as a proper apartment, not just the biggest bedroom. Your dressing, study, and spa-adjacent routines all happen without colliding with breakfast traffic. As for toys, expect a modern tender garage with room for a substantial day tender and supporting ribs, plus the usual arsenal of boards and personal watercraft. The point isn't a chaotic toy shop, it's the curated kit that actually gets used when the anchor's down. Key specifications. Length overall, 92 meters, approximately 302 feet. Beam, about 13.45 meters/44 feet. Draft, roughly 4.2 meters per 14 feet. Gross tonnage, just under 2,900 GT. Twin MTU 16 Vi 4000 M63L diesels provide the main muscle, with a top speed around 17 knots, an easygoing cruise in the mid-teens, and a transoceanic range on the order of 5,500 nautical miles at displacement speeds. Stabilization and hotel load strategy were engineered for quiet passages and at-anchor comfort, the kind that matters more at 2 a.m. when the bay is rolling and guests are trying to sleep than it does in any spec sheet race. If you're a spec-first viewer, yes, you could memorize the numbers and compare them to peers like Kismet, Faith, or Dilbar on pure tonnage. But the real story with Aquarius is how those numbers translate into human comfort. The extra fraction of beam you feel in dining circulation, the tankage capacity you feel in itinerary freedom, the deck-to-ceiling proportions you feel when a 10-person dinner never raises its voice over the air handling system. Specs become lifestyle when they're this well sorted. Exterior experience. Walk the main deck aft, and the geometry reads like a premium resort. Shaded lounge zones that don't steal the view from dining. A pool that integrates with the aft terrace rather than acting like a moat, and rail heights that keep you secure without boxing you in. I love how the side decks maintain usable width even around pinch points. It sounds minor, but it's a big deal for crew choreography and guest flow. Sideboarding works cleanly. Tender operations don't turn into a spectator sport, and you never feel like you're in the way of the next moment. On the upper decks, you get that signature feed ship stillness. There's a reason serious owners chase Dutch big boat builds. Doors shut with a weighty hush, furniture sits exactly level underway, and the deck camber doesn't play optical tricks. Aquarius keeps wind management civilized, so you can actually use exterior dining at pace without chasing napkins. It's the difference between a view you admire for 5 minutes and a terrace you live on for 5 days. Interior atmosphere. Step inside and the palette is modern, but not fragile. Lines are clean, but the spaces feel forgiving and human scale. There's a soft-spoken luxury here that Americans tend to respond to. Not a museum, not a nightclub, just a calm, beautifully built home at sea. Lighting is layered so evenings feel cinematic without turning everything into a showroom. Carpets are tuned to absorb just the right amount of footfall. You get hotel-grade quiet without that over-damped dead-room vibe. The salon seating invites you to spread out devices and books without treating the table like a crime scene. It's detail-driven design that stays out of its own way. The wellness thread runs through the layout. Gym, massage, spa-adjacent zones, and that sea-level beach club that sells you on morning swims and late-afternoon dips. One of my favorite micro-moments on board is a quiet lap around the pool right at golden hour, when the water and sky share the same color temperature and the speakers roll low. It's the kind of memory that makes you forget how many zeros are in the fuel bill. Performance and range. Underway, Aquarius shines in the low to mid-teens. At 12 knots, she settles into an efficient, low-noise displacement groove that makes overnight legs civilized. That 5,000-plus nautical mile range is not just brochure talk. It opens up the routing map so you can chase seasons without living on a fuel hose. The power package's torquey curve keeps her unflustered when you ask for a little more pace to beat weather into a better window. And the stabilization logic keeps stemware confident when the anchorage serves up a nighttime surprise. Think of it this way. The big-ticket memories happen when nobody notices the mechanics. Aquarius has that gift. Ownership realities, charter context, and money. Let's talk dollars in a way that respects both discretion and viewer curiosity. For a modern 92-meter Northern European build of this pedigree, new build replacement values commonly land around the $200 million mark neighborhood, give or take for contracting, yard slots, exchange rates, materials, and customization. That number is useful only as a backdrop, because market reality moves with condition, refit status, and economic cycles. What matters more for most viewers is the cost of keeping a yacht like this perfect. Annual operating budgets for vessels in this class typically live in the 8-figure range, with crew, maintenance cycles, insurance, fuel, and logistics, adding up to a number that starts with 1 and has a lot of commas. On the charter side, when availability aligns, Weekly base rates for comparable Northern European 90-meter class yachts hover around $1.5 million plus expenses. That rate is a filter. It's aimed at clients who value not just square footage, but the way a boat like Aquarius simplifies a week for 12 guests. Fast tenders that don't waste time, hotel quiet nights, and service choreography that feels invisible. If you measure luxury by how little friction you experience, that weekly rate begins to make sense. Comparisons that matter. Viewers always ask, okay, but how does she stack up? Picture a triangle. On one corner, you've got sheer interior volume monsters like Dilbar. On another, performance-leaning builds that shave weight and chase top-end speeds. On the third, the quiet luxury axis where Aquarius lives. She won't headline the harbor with outrageous exterior theatrics, but she will quietly win the week on comfort, flow, and acoustic discipline. If you've looked at Gulfstream G700 versus Bombardier Global 8000 in jets, Aquarius is the yacht equivalent of choosing the cabin you actually want to spend 12 hours in, not the brochure number you brag about. That's not a knock on the big showpieces. It's a recognition that livability is a metric, and Aquarius scores. Myths, misunderstandings, and lesser-known details. One common misunderstanding is that any yacht in the 90-meter range must feel cavernous and formal. Aquarius is proof that you can engineer scale without losing intimacy. Another myth I hear is that large yachts sacrifice tender agility. Yet the way Aquarius integrates sideboarding and garage clearances keeps operations nimble. A lesser-known detail I love: the way the designers used subtle geometry in ceiling coffers to manage both acoustics and light spill at night. It's the kind of thing you only notice after a couple of days, and once you notice it, you can't unsee how much calmer every room feels. My take. As a reviewer who lives in spec sheets, I'm the first to admit numbers matter. But the longer I cover this world, the more I respect how certain yachts turn numbers into feelings. Aquarius is one of those builds. Her trick isn't a single outrageous feature. It's the compound effect of 1,000 quiet decisions. The joke I make with friends is that Aquarius is the super yacht you buy when you've already owned the loud one. You've done the harbor headlines phase. Now you want the boat that disappears into the background so your life can move to the foreground. And yes, I'd happily trade my first apartment to live in that owner's dressing room. Kidding. Mostly. Final reveal. You came for the secret that sets Aquarius apart, and here it is. The boat's decisive luxury is not an object. It's quiet. Specifically, the compound of hull form, structural damping, hotel load isolation, and airflow tuning that lower the noise floor everywhere you live. That noise strategy is the hidden feature that makes the owner's deck feel like a true apartment, that lets dinners last a little longer, that turns sunrise coffee into a ritual. It's the feeling you pay for, but can't photograph. The signature that explains why people who know yachts well talk about Aquarius with a certain calm respect in their voice. That's the reason she belongs on your short list when you're studying how the top end of yachting gets livability right. If this deep dive helped you see the real difference between big and truly livable, tap subscribe so you don't miss the next premiere. Tell me in the comments, would you trade a knot of top speed for that super low nighttime noise floor, and why? Your answer might feature in our next episode. If you want the members-only extras, shipyard insights, design breakdowns, and early looks, hit join on the channel page. And if this episode made your day, super thanks is the quickest way to power the next investigation. I'll spotlight the most insightful supporter comment in the next video. And before leaving, don't stop here. For a head-to-head on how different design philosophies solve the same problem, jump into our Luxury Yachts playlist right now. If you're curious how the aviation world tackles quiet luxury, cue up our G700 versus Global 8000 feature after this. YouTube should be surfacing it to the right of your screen. See you there.